the story a lot. Actually, Toronto was a city I got brought in years and years ago, dating myself, years and years ago, to help Whoopi Goldberg get in shape, right? And she flew me into Toronto. She was filming some movies, and I was training Stallone at the time, so Stallone had set me up, wanted her to get, so Stallone wanted Whoopi to get in shape, so convinced Whoopi to call me to get in shape. I went up there and had a 2 or 3 hour meeting with her. It came real clear to me she was plenty happy the way she was. There wasn't anything she wanted to change. I didn't really want to change her because there was nothing she needed to change. So we came to a real nice agreement that I like you like me, and you like you the way you are. We're all happy with that. We became really good friends, and that was the end of me needing to get her to eat something different. That's fine. I've got no problem with that. Right. There is no part of me that needs her to be any different. That's great. But if you want to change, so that was her in personal responsibility, not having a problem or a judgment of herself, and saying, I'm good with where I am. Great. Awesome. And when you're not, you can be there too. So, but there's no right and wrong other than you make it to be so.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's not, I mean, I think the key point there is that as long as, because I do have people tell me, I'm happy the way I am. I don't want to get too thin or too fat, too in shape. I don't mind that extra 10 pounds. As long as you honestly believe that about yourself, you're honestly happy, and you're not going to a pool party and covering yourself up because you're ashamed of that extra 10 pounds. If you're honestly happy and content with where you are and free, and you want to whatever, that's awesome. But if you have that little bit of doubt about how happy you really are, then I really encourage you to embrace kicking things up a notch.
Well, and that's a great distinction. So I credit you with a great distinction on that, I think that's the thing about Whoopi, is she truly was where she needed to be exactly. Right. And,
exactly.
And there are people that have stories around it. They have justifications. They make it okay to live just below where they really want to be earning because it's a rationalization. And that rationalization, but I like the idea that people find that they find a way to like who they are, where they are, for what they've come to be and enjoy, and have a positive pressure to create self-improvement. And the other thing about that 10 pounds, even if it's not affecting you emotionally, as long as it's not debilitating you physically, energetically, compromising the quality of your life, because ultimately, when you lose your energy, when you're compromised, your family loses, your community loses, and your country loses. Because it's not just about me. I get the right to live as bad as I want, because we are a one system connected to everyone else. So I'm affecting everyone in my life. I'm affecting the people that employ me. I'm affecting everything with that. And so from that level, there is truly a personal accountability and responsibility to show up in a fit and vital state.
Right. Absolutely. Agree 100%. And I mean, I look at myself when I was 45 pounds heavier. I was a mess. I was non-existent to my family, basically. I was useless to them. I was just taking up space and sucking up their air. That 45 pounds is not going to affect everybody. Even an extra 10 pounds is going to affect people differently. To me, an extra 10 pounds, and you can even say, well, what is an extra 10 pounds? Is it 10 pounds above 4% body fat? I don't know what an extra 10 pounds is, but extra weight, whether it's 10 pounds, 15 pounds, really affects me emotionally, I think, more than physically. I can do everything that 10 pounds isn't going to stop me from doing some physical activities, but emotionally, I'm not as bubbly, as peppy, as positive, the zest for life that I have like I do right now. So it definitely impacts my relationship with my wife, relationship with my kids, and it even impacts the way I interact with my customers, blog readers, whatever, clients, training clients. They feed off my energy. So I like to, that 10 pounds if I was to gain 10 pounds right now, I wouldn't have the same kind of energy and zest and passion that I can get across to them. So it affects us all differently.
Well, and it also affects from an internal state, because it carries an estrogen release, and it stores toxic chemicals in your body that fat does, and also it's going to affect your brain chemistry. It's going to affect the amount of serotonin and dopamine. So you can't say it doesn't. It has all these subtle effects internally, which which depress my mood a little bit. They suck my energy down a little bit, knock my testosterone down a notch. All those things are true. And the other thing about that, what's 10 pounds here and there? I mean, I say it a lot, about you look at guys like golfers that spend thousands of dollars on clubs to hit an extra 10 yards. And I'm like, take 2 inches off your waist, dude, you'll get 40 yards.
Right.
Really, seriously.
Little things. There's a story I always love sharing with people when they're talking about their extra weight. There's a couple that I trained. They were in their early 50s, and they were scheduled to go on a cruise. And prior to the cruise, they hired me to get them in shape. They both said they wanted to lose. The wife wanted to lose about 10 pounds, and the husband close to 20. Well, they come back from the cruise, and they're like, we're not too bad. Maybe I'll only lose 5 pounds now, and maybe the guy only 10 pounds. Like, what the heck? You were all gung-ho about losing more weight. Why sudden are you changing your goals? Like, well, on the cruise, we realized we look better than most of those people, so maybe we're pretty good the way we are. I'm like, whoa, well, you can't be comparing yourself to the general population, especially nowadays. Like you said, what's the the unrealistic, live unrealistically, or what's unreasonable? The unreasonable.
The unreasonable man.
The unreasonable man. Yeah, I don't want to be like everybody else and the norm. So you just got to realize, you got to think to yourself, what really are your goals, and stick to it, rather than worry about what everyone else is aiming for and their lower.
So if I get the moral of the story, is going on a cruise is a little like going to a set of Funhouse mirrors.
yeah, and it's a good way to make you feel good about yourself, even if you have just a little 10 pounds, 15 pounds to
and sometimes when I'm feeling heavy, I go to Walmart just to feel better. Well, it's a little pick me up. Honestly, as a digression, because that's one of my specialties, I notice a lot because, I live here in Colorado, and, I take for granted that this is a relatively fit state, which means there's still fat people around and blah, blah, blah. Overweight people, fat's a bad term, but it was my derogatory self speaking out. But when I travel, I go places like, anything besides California. You go Midwest, even Texas or anything like that, or I go East. I'm just awestruck because I'm not used to it being a majority of people being overweight. I'm used to seeing overweight people now and then because, there's as many more bikes on the road here than there are cars. You'll just see them everywhere. People climbing, people walking, people flying, people doing whatever. They're always doing something. And so you just live in a fitter state. But man, it's very pervasive. I mean, there's a lot. So, and the cruise is probably one of the most intensely captured overeating indulgent events there is.
Yeah, no doubt.